The dress shop, or all the Disney jewelry stores. So I like have all my favorite stores like lined up. I'm gonna knock them all out, spend some time here until hotel check-in time, and then I gotta check in for my conference. And I brought a sewing project for hanging out tonight in my room. Yeah. But yeah, I'm so excited to get my wedding jewelry finally. I've been holding off. I've been waiting and waiting.
That's so exciting. I got, when Alfred Angelo's was around and they did their Disney dresses, I got the Belle-inspired one for my wedding. So awesome.
Awesome. I almost got the Belle dress that it's Allure Bridals now does it. And there was the Belle one is beautiful. Like all the lace at the bottom is this like beautiful rose motif, and I'm just like, oh, that's so beautiful. And then I almost got the which one was it? I think it was an Aurora one, and it had like the basque waistline. I was really torn about that one too. But then when I tried on the Cinderella one, I was like, nope. This is the one.
And you don't really know until you try them on, because it depends on your body shape and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. The one that I thought I was gonna go with, the Belle one, I ended up not going with because the back was so low, and I just felt like I'm not naked, and I don't want to feel uncomfortable I didn't feel that comfortable with like low cut in the front and like literally almost down to your rear end for the back, and there wasn't even like illusion mesh or anything, like it was just literally bare back, and I was like, I just feel too naked.
That's not my thing either. Yeah. I'm not even big on strapless dresses. I ended up getting like a bolero like jacket thing for my wedding dress.
Yeah. And mine has cap sleeves, so I'm like, okay, there's something.
But it's funny though because but I'm finding that
3 minutes. So she's probably in that building right there, right?
I would assume so. It's gotta be somewhere super close by. And all the guys in the black shirts are all centered around that area, so that's
She thinks it is.
You think so?
He just came out of there.
Okay.
And he's sitting up front. So
yeah, he's got the front row seat. So. I see a head of blonde with very thick hair. I'm thinking that's her. She's got like unicorn hair. Want to take a selfie? Oh, sure. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Yay!
this crowd here bright and early on this gorgeous day. So thank you for being here. I know you're all here to see Ashley. Can we give her a round of applause? So Ashley Eckstein has been widely recognized and honored as an actress, as an entrepreneur, and as an author. I'm actually holding one of her books here in my hand. She is most well known as the voice of Ahsoka Tano. Do we have any Ahsoka fans? I thought so. And in 2010, Ashley founded Her Universe. Is anyone wearing Her Universe today? We actually sell a lot of Her Universe here at Disney Springs, and I have a feeling that many of you already know that. So thank you for continuing to shop here for all of those amazing fashions from Ashley. She is a passionate advocate for mental health awareness, and she is a champion for the National Children on Our Sleeves movement. Here at Disney Springs, we are continuing to celebrate her story in honor of Women's History Month. And I could not be more honored myself to bring on the woman that you are all here to see today, Ashley Eckstein. Come on down, Ashley. And it's all yours. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I thank you actually for having my here. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh. This is so surreal. Thank you so much for coming. Oh my gosh, Ahsoka lives! Yes! Oh gosh, well, I have to tell you, I got the coolest email one day from Disney Springs, from the team here at Disney Springs. So thank you, Darcy, and thank you, Chris, and the entire team here at Disney Springs. They said, hey, Ashley, we had an idea. You know, Women's History Month is coming up, and we did a really cool event together last year, but they said, what would you think about honoring Ahsoka Tano for Women's History Month? And I was like, yes, of course, I'm in. And then they made it even cooler. They said, and I'm about to bring them up, but two very, very special women, Chef Amanda and Chocolatier Katie. So I'm going to bring them up in a minute, yes. But they said they had an idea to do a special chocolate pop, ganache pop for Ahsoka Tano called the Lady Tano Pop. And to make it even better, because I have a dairy allergy, they said we're going to make it dairy-free to honor Ahsoka for the month of March. So, without further ado, I want them to share about this amazing chocolate pop because literally the reason we're here is because it just started with an idea. Chocolatier Katie had an idea, and we're all here because of Katie's idea. So without further ado, please give a huge round of applause again to Chocolatier Katie and Chef Amanda. Come on up. So you can meet both Chef Amanda and Chocolatier Katie at the Ganachery. Welcome! Hi! So Katie, tell us, how did this come about?
So, funny enough, I was actually, Chef had come to us and was like, hey, I want some ideas for, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Women's History Month. And I was like, Women's History Month, I want to do that. So I am in my bedroom. I was actually painting a Captain Rex hat that I made. And I was like, yeah, my favorite clone trooper. And I was like, wait, that's the idea. I want to do Ahsoka Tano. So I was like, all right, I want to do something with the fulcrum symbol, obviously. So that obviously has to go on the outside. And I was like, but I really want to do something with her mantrals. That striking white and blue coloring, we got to swirl the two colors. So that was where the idea kind of came from, doing that white chocolate and blueberry. And then knowing that Ashley has her dairy allergy, we were like, you know what? We're going to make this plant-based. We're going to figure this out. So I came to Chef, I showed it to her, and of course I'm like, this is never going to work. This is not going to work. And of course I'm like just about the only Star Wars fan in the shop. So everyone's like, who is Ahsoka? I'm like, oh, let me give you a history lesson. I got you. Don't worry. And so I brought it to Chef, and she helped me make dream a reality. So
yeah, so exactly how Katie said happened. She drew a sketch and told me what she wanted. And I always tell my team, don't worry about knowing how to make it. Just bring the idea in. I know how to make it, or we can figure it out together, and that's what we do, right? So we actually started this in October. To be honest, working on this idea for March. And at Disney, we have to get approvals, right, for when we do stuff to make sure that everything looks right. And so we had to send this into Lucasfilms to make sure it was approved to sell. And so when I tell you how many colors of blue we went through, so many shades of blue, and swirl patterns to get the correct swirl pattern. And we actually took Katie's little Ahsoka keychain that she has, and we put it on the top of our Stefan ganache makers, which has a clear lid, and we mixed the blueberry, and we took a photo and said, are we good with this?
And know this.
Yeah, it's hysterical. And they wanted to send me Pantone colors. And I said, well, thank you so very much, but I work with food, and my blueberry puree comes in one color. Anybody? So we kind of have to work with that. And so I think, I don't know, maybe February? Down to the wire? February, we kind of got the final approval.
We got everything approved maybe a week and a half
before. But for this plant-based pop, we went ahead and also sourced a vegan white chocolate. So a lot of people will hear us say it's a coconut ganache or a coconut white chocolate, and how is that possible? And it's possible because we sourced a really lovely vegan white chocolate in order to make this product today. But I was inspired by Katie. I, as well, don't know a ton about Star Wars. To be honest, now I do. Now I do.
It's okay.
But I have always been an Ashley fan, and I have absolutely, absolutely always loved her universe. And Ashley and I had the pleasure of doing the Cruella live event last year, and so I just have to say I'm officially. So thank you everybody for your support, and thank you. We're gonna go ahead and turn it over to Miss Ashley, because she's gonna have all the stuff you want to hear today.
Okay, but these Lady Tano Pops are only available through the end of March. Yes. So take advantage of it while they last. They're available at the Ganachery until the end of March. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we did want to give you something a little special from us at the Ganachery. I came in about 6 a.m. this morning.
No way.
And I made these for you, so I hope you enjoy them.
Oh gosh, y'all. These are going to be gone by tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much, Katie. One more round of applause for Chef Amanda and Chocolate Katie. Oh, thank you. All right, well, today is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I had to wear this jacket because it's green, but I'm going to take it off because it's a little hot. But underneath it, since we're talking about the history of Ahsoka, I'm actually wearing the very first Ahsoka Tano t-shirt that they ever made. So to promote the Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie, they released this in 2008. This was a unisex t-shirt because they didn't make t-shirts for girls back then. And it even says, let's see, 8/15/08. And I wanted to make it a little more feminine, so I bedazzled it. And I've had this since 2008. You know, I want to leave a lot of time open for Q&A today. So get your questions ready, and I want, you know, anything. Ask me anything about the history of Ahsoka. Anything's fair game. But I thought, since we're celebrating Women's History Month, I would throw it back to the beginning. Who is Ahsoka? How are we here today? You know, because Ahsoka is truly a trailblazer. I think, you know, especially the kids out here, they probably weren't even born yet when Ahsoka, you know, was first thought of. But it's so easy to forget that when Ahsoka came out, this character, when we found out that Anakin Skywalker was going to have a Padawan, and that Padawan was a girl, that was truly groundbreaking. You know, we had characters, obviously, the iconic Princess Leia. We all love Princess Leia. Exactly. We all love Padme Amidala. And we got a lot of great female Jedi in the prequels. However, prior to Ahsoka Tano coming out, there hadn't been a female Jedi that was a lead character in the Star Wars universe. That was a big deal. Ahsoka Tano was the first female Jedi that was a lead character that we got to see on a regular basis in the Star Wars universe. And that was groundbreaking. You know, this was before we had characters like Rey. This was before we had characters like Jyn and Rose Tico and all of the incredible female characters we have today. So Ahsoka really paved the way for so many female characters that we have today. And I have to give so much credit to George Lucas and Dave Filoni for making a character like Ahsoka Tano possible. So Ahsoka came out in 2008, and let me tell you what, if we had this same show in 2008, we wouldn't have this many people here. Ahsoka came out, and she had a lot of haters at first. And I know there's been a lot of people that have been fans from day one, so shout out to everyone that's been a fan from day one. But also, if you weren't, if you thought she was kind of annoying, if you thought she was kind of snippy, that's okay. Because she was snippy, and she was a little annoying. I'll admit that. But the fact that she even existed, she really paved the way for so much of what was to come, and that was just awesome. Has anyone rode in one of those boats before? Okay, yeah, I have a new bucket list item. But I thought, so I apologize I don't have more. You know, when you have these events and you say that they're going to be at 10 a.m., you never know how many people are going to show up. So this turnout is, thank you. The force is strong with you too. You never know who's going to show up. So I had 50 of these books. So to the first 50 people that got here today, you're all getting a signed copy of this book. So I apologize if you're not one of the first 50. I honestly did not imagine that this many people would show up. But I thought I would just go through this real quick to share, because Ahsoka became who she is today. Honestly, because Ahsoka was the voice and the eyes of the audience for Clone Wars. I think we all feel a connection to her, because as we all watched Star Wars The Clone Wars, I think we all felt that we were her, because she was the eyes of the audience. And I don't know about you, but Ahsoka is truly one of the most powerful characters today because of what she stands for. You know, to me, she represents hope. She represents all that is good. She represents light. You know, I just, in my opinion, and this is purely my opinion, so nobody say this is canon, but she represents the light side of the Force. And she reminds us that there's always light, even in the darkest of times. There's always hope. But you know what? Ahsoka didn't start out as this, you know, awesome kick-butt character that never made mistakes. Because you know what? She made a lot of mistakes. And she proved to us that it was okay to make mistakes. It was okay to learn. It was okay to ask questions. And it was okay to be curious. And I explore that here in this book, in this I Am a Padawan book, Little Golden Book. And I thought I would just go through some of the themes to remind us, you know, on Women's History Month, really what Ahsoka had to go through before she became this iconic character that she is today. Ahsoka, once she became Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, here it's illustrated by the amazing Shane Clester, but she asked a lot of questions. Now, I often say the difference between someone that makes their dream come true and someone that doesn't is the person that makes their dream come true is they're not afraid to ask questions. And I want to give a shout out to Katie, because the reason that we're able to buy this Lady Tano ganache pop is because she wasn't afraid to ask the question. And also a shout out to Chef Amanda for creating a safe space, a comfortable space for your team to ask questions. And so we're all here today with this awesome chocolate pop because Katie was not afraid to just ask the question and say, hey, is this possible? So Ahsoka inspired us to ask questions. Now this is an important one. Ahsoka failed. Now, today, nobody wants to admit that they failed. No one wants to admit that they've made a mistake. But you know what? I will tell you, Her universe would not exist today if I didn't fail. I failed so many times and it led me to her universe. And Ahsoka inspired me. Her universe exists today because I failed and she inspired me to do something new. She inspired me to start her universe. And, you know, Ahsoka failed on a mission in Storm over Ryloth, and it's a very important episode. If you ever have a mistake or you have a failure, I encourage you to pop on the episode Storm over Ryloth, where Ahsoka fails, but she picks herself up again. And you know what? I mean, spoiler, she saves Anakin. You know, she learns from her mistake and she saves Anakin. And it's just such a powerful episode. Oh, the other lesson, I'm not going to change the page yet. She helps others. One of my absolute favorite quotes is in the final season of Clone Wars, where she says, "In my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what. I guess it's just who I am." And Ahsoka helps others, and in turn, she helps herself. You know, when she comes back in the final season of Clone Wars, Ahsoka was lost. She had walked away from the Jedi Order, and she walked away from everything that she knew. And I know that that moment has inspired so many of you, just like it's inspired me. And she didn't know what to do. I mean, without the Jedi, she didn't know who she was. And she stumbled along Trace and Rafa, the Martez sisters, and she just decided to help them because it was the right thing to do. And in turn, guess what? Ahsoka helped herself. She found herself again, and it led her to become one of the first founders of the rebellion. Okay, let's just, another important lesson is Ahsoka's brave. You know, I have to tell you, Ahsoka inspired me to start her universe again. I didn't know how to start a company. I didn't know how to design clothes. I didn't know anything about it. Talk about that approval process. I had to go through that approval process. It was very difficult. I didn't know what I was doing, but that's okay. If you have an idea and if you want to try something new, nobody knows what they're doing in the beginning. Neither did Ahsoka. When Ahsoka came on as Anakin's Padawan, she didn't know what she was doing half the time, but she was brave. And if you just face something new and be brave like Ahsoka and ask questions, you will learn and you will, step by step, become just as kick butt as Ahsoka. Okay, so this is another big lesson that Ahsoka has taught us over the years. She's taught us to be patient. Now let's talk about patience, because my husband is sitting here, and I'll tell you what, this is a lesson that I have had to learn and constantly have to practice. It's not one that like all of a sudden you're patient and then, you know, you never have to learn it again. Oh no, I'll be in my closet looking for something and he'll just hear, "Ah!" And he's like, "Ashley, practice your Jedi breathing." And I'm like, "I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me." Literally, that's something that I do. You know what? We're going to practice this together now. Because this is something that Ahsoka taught me. You know, in the final, we learned it in Rogue One, but in the final season of Clone Wars, we hear Ahsoka helping Captain Rex. And she closes her eyes, she practices deep breathing, and she says, "I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me." You know, and at times when I need to find my patience again, because yes, I'm very impatient, I literally stop and I take some deep breaths. I breathe in for 4 seconds. I breathe out for 4 seconds. And I say, "I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me." So let's do this twice together now. Breathe in. Breathe out. "I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me." Okay, together now. Breathe in. Breathe out. "I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me." So next time you get really impatient, like I do all of the time, I encourage you to practice that. And breathe in and out as many times as you need until you feel yourself calm down and say, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me. And I promise it works. I do it all the time, and that is definitely inspired by Ahsoka. Okay. Oh, this is another big one. Trust in yourself. So, how many of you have seen the final, the season finale of season 5 where Ahsoka walks away from the Jedi Order? Okay. Yes, that is probably my favorite episode in all of Clone Wars. But Ahsoka had to learn a very, very important lesson. She had to trust in herself. You know, she had learned a lot throughout Clone Wars. She had learned a lot throughout being Anakin's Padawan. But she knew that she was right. And she had to trust in herself. And, you know, she told Anakin, she's like, how can I trust in the Jedi Council if I don't trust in myself? Now, don't quote me on that quote. I know I misquoted it. But that was her lesson. And I encourage you, as you have to trust in your gut. If you know, if you've learned and you've practiced at something, you have to listen to your gut. You have to listen to your intuition and trust in yourself. Okay. And then finally, a lesson that was really hard to learn is Ahsoka walked away. She had to really forge her own path. And, you know, as you, if you're students here today and you know, you're in school, this is a lesson that you're learning right now. I think if you're going through college or you're in your 20s, or honestly, I just turned 40 and I'm always forging new paths. So there's no age that's too young, or, you know, there's always a new dream. There's always a new path to start. But it's okay to start down a new path. If you ever feel like, you know what, you've run into a brick wall and you want to try something new, or maybe a new path is forced upon you, it's okay. And Ahsoka taught us that it's okay to, you know, forge a new path and start a new journey. So, let's see. Okay, I think those are the big ones. There's more lessons in here. But I wanted to share that because Ahsoka did not become who she is overnight. Ahsoka had a long journey and she had to learn all of those lessons, and she continues to inspire me as well as I know so many of you still to this day. And you know, I came out here and I said Ahsoka lives because I started that when she came back on Star Wars Rebels purely for the fact that Ahsoka lived. You know, she walked away and I didn't know, was she alive or was she not? We didn't know. And I was so excited to see that Ahsoka lives. But today, I've changed this hashtag that we use online to say Ahsoka lives in all of us. Because I truly believe that after all of these lessons that Ahsoka's taught us over all of these years, I believe that Ahsoka lives in all of us now. Because she lives in our hearts and she lives in our souls, and we take her with us in our daily life. And I don't know about you, but I literally ask myself on a regular basis, what would Ahsoka do? When I come upon a situation where I'm not sure what to do, she's literally in my heart and she's in my soul. And I think, what would Ahsoka do? And she literally guides my decisions. So I'm sure, I know I'm not alone. I really believe that Ahsoka lives in all of us. And next time, if you're at that crossroads, if you're at that tough decision, if you need patience, if you need to trust in yourself, Ahsoka really is in your heart and in your soul. And she will guide you. And so ask yourself, what would Ahsoka do? And I really believe that Ahsoka would do the right thing. And if you listen, if you channel the Force, that answer is right inside your heart. So I want to open it up to you now and ask away. Anything is fair game. I can't promise that I have answers to your questions, but I'll try my best to answer them. So raise your hand and tell me your name.
I'm Tammy.
Tammy, and what's your question?
So you were saying how your Ahsoka from 08 really forged the generation that's here, and now we have Rosario Dawson that's going to forge a whole new generation of Ahsoka Tano fans. How much did Ahsoka in Clone Wars and the Rebels change throughout your journey based on your influence and what you saw the generation of fans needed or what the writers maybe weren't seeing from the beginning that you knew would be influential to young women growing up now into this generation that may help Rosario Dawson as she works with Filoni for the future generation?
Well, thank you for your incredibly thoughtful question and kind question. Well, this goes back to the history of it as well, which is what makes it such a great question. When I first auditioned for Ahsoka Tano, I did not know that I was auditioning for Ahsoka Tano. I actually went in and auditioned for Padme. I didn't even know that Ahsoka Tano existed. They advertised that they were auditioning for a new Star Wars animated show, and the only role that they were auditioning for, that I was right for, was Padme Amidala. And I was immediately excited and then immediately crushed because I sounded nothing like Padme Amidala. And I practiced like all night because I didn't find out about the audition until the night before. So I only had one night to practice. So I practiced all night. And by the time I got to the audition, I was pretty down because after practicing and practicing, I still sounded nothing like Padme Amidala. And I got to the audition and I walked in the room. And it was as crowded as this theater. There were so many other actresses auditioning for Ahsoka. And guess what I did? I'm normally really positive. I walked out of the room. I walked back to my car, got in the driver's seat, and almost drove away. I called my agent and I said, look, you know, they're running behind. All the top actresses in LA were auditioning for this part. I sounded nothing like Padme, and I told him, I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna leave. And I still have to thank my agent to this day because he said, Ashley, you never know what will happen. You need to go back in there and please just give it a shot. So I listened to him, and I did, and I waited an hour for this audition. I was incredibly intimidated watching all of these top actresses go in, and they sounded perfect as Padme. And I walked in, I said my first Padme line, and Dave Filoni stopped me, and he was like, no, you sound too young to be Padme, but there's this new character. There's this 14-year-old girl that we think you might be right for. And so they brought in Ahsoka's lines. And I know several of you have heard this story, so forgive me if you've heard it, but they gave me the Ahsoka lines, and they said, but she has an Icelandic accent. You have to read this in Icelandic. Well, guess who couldn't do an Icelandic accent? I butchered it. I did a terrible job. But I walked out, I called my husband, and I said, I didn't get this part because I couldn't do an Icelandic accent. Well, somehow, I got a call back. And they said, you know, just please practice your Icelandic accent before you come in. So I come back in, I practice, and I got the Icelandic accent really good. I was really good at it. I walked back in, I said the first couple of lines in Icelandic. Well, guess who stops me again? But Dave Filoni. And he's like, I'm sorry, but we want her to sound a bit more Icelandic. You know, can you do that? And I was so frustrated because I had practiced for days. I mean, just days on end doing this Icelandic accent. So I did something I would never do. I talked back to the director. I raised my hand and I said, I'm sorry, but I am doing Icelandic. I don't know what you want. Well, it turns out that got me the part. Because he was looking for someone that was snippy but not bratty. So it turns out that my little bit of snippiness paid off. I don't recommend talking back to the director, but so when I came in for the first session, and it actually took about 6 months, literally until we fully found Ahsoka's character, it really took about 6 months to find her. But I feel so fortunate. I didn't write the lines, but Dave asked me to just be myself. So Ahsoka in Clone Wars and Rebels and all the games and the books and anything that I voiced as Ahsoka is really just me. And I feel so fortunate that I was allowed to bring my own heart, my own soul to the character. It's my own kind of humor and wit and, you know, sarcasm. So I think, you know, I don't know how to say I talk, so I'm not going to share that part. But what Dave has shared with me over the years and what I try my best to bring to the character is Ahsoka is genuine. And Ahsoka, she means what she says. She says everything from the heart. If she says she's going to help, she genuinely wants to help. If she says she cares, she genuinely cares. And the most important thing about Ahsoka is Ahsoka's kind. And this is the thing that Ahsoka taught me. Ahsoka is actually powerful, not because she's an awesome fighter, which she is, not because, I mean, she's incredibly fierce at everything she does, and she uses the Force masterfully. Ahsoka is powerful because she's kind. And for the longest time, I did not look at kindness as a power. But if you think about it, it's a lot harder to do the right thing. It's a lot harder to be kind. It's easier to say, oh, I'm just going to walk right by. I'm not going to help that person. It's easier to, you know, say, oh, I'm not going to fully tell the truth here. I'm just going to walk away and pretend that didn't happen. It's harder to be kind. It's really, really hard. And so that's another reason why I always ask myself, what would Ahsoka do? Because sometimes it's easier to just say, oh, I'm just going to walk away from this situation. So Ahsoka is so powerful because she's kind. So I would say, just even, you know, for anyone who plays Ahsoka Tano in the future, whether it's Rosario Dawson, you know, whether it's myself, whether it's somebody else who gets to play Ahsoka, or anyone that channels Ahsoka in their everyday life, be genuine, do everything from the heart, and be kind. So, thank you. All right, Chris, we have some more questions here. Hi, what's your name?
Rosie.
Rosie. Hi, Rosie.
Other than Ahsoka, who's your favorite character?
Oh, this is actually an easy one for me because it's by far R2-D2. I recently got to write another Star Wars book that will come out in October, and it's a Star Wars lifestyle book where it's how to live your best Star Wars life all year long. So it's exercises and recipes and crafts and activities like how to do a backyard Kessel run. Like, who doesn't want to do a Kessel run in your backyard? I got to do recipes on how to make red milk and golden milk and all sorts of things. Yes. But in there's a lot of mindfulness exercises, and there's some stuff about R2-D2 in there as well. And so I had to watch a lot of scenes that R2 was in. And if you think about it, R2 is one of the unsung heroes of Star Wars. He is always there to save the day. I think he saved almost everyone's life in Star Wars. So I stan R2-D2 as the unsung hero of Star Wars. All right, got more questions. Lots of great questions.
Hi. So, like, through your, like, stuff from, like, the Clone Wars and Rebels, like, what has been, like, the best opportunity working and voicing as Ahsoka has brought you?
Oh, my goodness. And what's your name? Veronica. Okay, great question. Honestly, by far, this. Star Wars has changed my life. Ahsoka has changed my life. But Star Wars fans has changed. You've all changed my life. And I say that literally from the heart. This job, you know, being an actress, running her universe, being in the business is hard. And there are some days where, honestly, and my husband will tell you, I've had dreams just dashed. I've been absolutely devastated. But every single time I have a down day, I go to social media or I go to one of these events, and every single one of you has just completely turned my life around. You've changed my perspective. You keep me positive. You keep me hopeful. Your kindness. I mean, literally, anytime I do an event, I promise you, I think no one is going to show up. So the fact that you've shown up today at like 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning means the world to me. But your kindness and your positivity and your hope has literally changed my life. And so I promise you that as long, truly, as I am living, I will give whatever I can to this fan base, to Star Wars fans, to Ahsoka, because I just, there's so much that we can't do. But every day I wake up and ask myself, what would Ahsoka do? Because there's something that we can do. And don't underestimate one act of kindness. A single act of kindness is like a spark of hope, truly. And a spark of hope in the Star Wars universe, we know how powerful it is. So just literally having all of you in my life is the best part. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. Your makeup's amazing. Your whole look's amazing.
Thank you. I was wondering, so when you were a kid, like, what did you want to be when you grew up, and how did that fluctuate into the person that you've become today?
Oh, goodness. Great question. And you know what? I like to move, so I'm going to stand up. Okay, so I grew up right here in Orlando, Florida. My dad was a cast member, and I was a cast member as soon as I turned 16, so shout out to all Disney cast members. Yeah, raise your hands to all the Disney cast members. Oh my gosh! Oh wow, thank you. Thank you. You guys bring so much hope and so much magic to everyone on a daily basis, so thank you. But I grew up just right here in Orlando, Florida, and honestly, I formed my dreams right here at Disney, and actually right here at Disney Springs. That stage, well, around the corner, actually it's over there, I grew up performing on as a kid. And so having the opportunities that I did here in Orlando, I knew pretty early on that I wanted to be an actress. And, thanks to Disney and all the opportunities here for really kind of making the impossible possible. I got to go to a live taping of the Mickey Mouse Club back when they filmed it here. I got to perform in the Disney Christmas special that was on ABC. I think if you're here in Orlando, either you're visiting or you live here, I think the magic of Disney makes the intangible tangible. It proves to us that things that we feel that maybe they're not real, then they happen here in front of our eyes, like a Lady Tano ganache pop that we thought could never be done, and it's done. And so, I think whatever your dream is, find a way to make it tangible. And it starts sometimes with a simple question. I'll give you, actually, this is a fun story that happened right here at Disney Springs. So when I had the idea about her universe, as I shared, I had no idea how to start a business. Now I'm a full proponent for college, but I didn't even go to college because I moved out to LA to be an actress. I was on a show called That's So Raven. Does anyone I played Muffy, the mean girl. She's like, Alana says that she likes Star Wars. But I moved to LA to be an actress, and so I actually didn't even have a college degree. So when I decided to start her universe, which was also inspired by Ahsoka, I learned on the job. So I had to ask a lot of questions. So I went into a meeting. Does anyone remember Star Wars Weekends? Yes! Hopefully one day it'll come back. I have no insider information. I'm just throwing it out into the universe. So maybe somebody here listening can make it happen. But I had the opportunity to sell my Her Universe merchandise at Star Wars Weekends. So I went into a meeting with the Star Wars apparel buyer, and I pretended that I knew what I was doing. She's like, oh, is this t-shirt a 30 single fabric? And I was like, uh-huh, it's a 30 single fabric. Which in my mind, I had no idea what a 30 single fabric was. That's a type of cotton. by the way. I didn't know that. Well, turns out that her name was Mary Myers. She knew I didn't know that. And she sent me an email privately, and she's like, Ashley, she's like, I really like your idea for her universe, and I know that you have a lot to learn. So she's like, do you want to meet me up at Disney Springs? And she's like, I'll walk with you throughout the store, and I'll teach you. And that's what she did. So we walked all throughout Disney Springs, throughout all the stores, and she just taught me. She taught me the different kinds of fabrics. She taught me about sizing. She taught me the lingo of, of fashion and what the buyers are looking for. And she paved the way. She was the first person to give me the opportunity to sell here at Disney, but she taught me. And so, what once seemed like an impossible dream, thanks to the help and me just asking questions, she made it possible. So literally, I know I sound like a broken record, but whatever your dream is today, don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, there's a Mary Myers in your life who's willing to help you, who's willing to answer your questions. And so, yeah, I mean, literally my dream for literally everything, but also, acting in her universe started right here at Disney Springs. All right, another question. Hi, what's your name?
David.
David! The force is strong with you, David. That's a good name. What's your question?
How many times did Ahsoka fail?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. And the answer, I actually don't have the answer, because you know why? Ahsoka has fallen more times than I can even count. Ahsoka, she's fallen probably, almost in every episode we've seen her in. But you know what? Whenever Ahsoka fell, she got back up. And if she fell again, she got back up. As she was climbing up a mountain, if she fell, she climbed back up the mountain. So next time, how you can be like Ahsoka, if you're practicing something, if you fall, you can get back up. And eventually, you'll get so good at it, you won't fall. But I know Ahsoka lives in you, so that was a great question. You're sitting in the sun. We got to get your question answered. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Trisha Liu. I am so excited to talk to you. This is so awesome.
Oh, thank you, Trisha Liu.
I'm curious, what is your favorite outfit that Ahsoka has worn so far?
Oh, that's a really good question. And it's a hard one. I think. Okay. I'm gonna give you a mix. I think, and this is purely from nostalgia, I like Ahsoka's second Clone Wars outfit. So the maroon outfit with the keyhole right here. And I think it's just out of nostalgia because she wore that the longest. And some of my favorite memories are from when she was wearing that outfit. But my favorite lightsabers, I like the white lightsabers. Because I like what the white color stands for. That she's neutral and that she helps everyone. So I'm gonna mash it up there a little bit. But yeah, I like bits and pieces from all of the outfits. Chris, we're gonna answer his question right up here because he's in the sun. His hat up here. What's your name?
I'm Topher.
Topher.
I was just wondering, when Rebels was in talks, did you say hey, should Ahsoka be in this, or did they approach you, or were you like a voice in the ear, she should come back, or why not?
So great question. I did not know that Ahsoka was coming back in Rebels, and I mean, you can ask Dave Filoni for things, but he's going to do what he wants. So what? No. That was later. That was later. Yeah, I'll get to that part. But no, Dave Filoni did call me one day, and because I did ask, I'm like, are we going to see Ahsoka again? Are we going to see Ahsoka again? Are we going to see her again? And again, I just wanted to know if she lived. So one day Dave Filoni did call me, and he let me know that she would be coming back in Rebels. So it was a very long secret to keep. But I will tell you, don't ask me for any secrets because I really don't know any right now. Your guess is as good as mine. But no, it was a very, very exciting time when Ahsoka walked down that ladder and came back on Rebels. So to my husband's point, that's when I started the hashtag Ahsoka Lives. But several people on Twitter got really mad at me because it was West Coast time. I couldn't hold the secret any longer because I had saved that secret for at least a year. So as soon as the broadcast ended on the West Coast, I put on Twitter, Ahsoka Lives. And some people were like, thanks for the spoiler, Ashley. But you know, I think everyone knows now. All right. Oh, we got lots of questions. And I have no sense of time, Darcy, so just let me know when. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Sophie, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was wondering how Ahsoka has like inspired what you do and like how you live and like kindness and all that sort of stuff.
Oh gosh, well thank you. Thank you. Ahsoka literally, and this is where I know I've been talking about a lot, but to elaborate, I have a new mission, and it is because of Ahsoka. My mission is that just is the the decisions I'm making with my next chapter and my next career choices is inspired to help people, and a lot of it has to do with mental health. So that's why I do posts every single Monday called Mental Health Monday. I have been working on a new series just for social media videos with Lucasfilm on some fun kind of videos inspired. So you're hearing that first. So coming soon, knock on wood. But it's been a passion project of mine. I've actually been 4 years. So hopefully, remember that patience thing we talked about? that's taken a lot of patience. So we're working on that now. But I feel like I can be a voice, and we can all be a voice to help people. So whether it's whatever, however you feel that you can help, I feel that I can be a voice for mental health, to say that our mental health is just as important as our physical health. And thank you. And I've been teasing it, but I'm working on a new story with Disney that is not Star Wars, but it is science fiction fantasy, and it is so cool that hopefully later this year I'll be able to share. But it is definitely a story about helping people. And when I tell you Ahsoka is inspiring me with this new character, she's incredible, and I know you all are going to love it. So I'm really choosing my future projects if it has a message of to help, because I feel that's we can all use our voices to help. And there's no insignificant way you can help someone. If you can make a difference with one person, and actually, sorry, I'm going to say one more thing. Get on my soapbox a little bit. About social media, I have a rule. We live in a society where it's all about how many likes you get, how many comments you get. And trust me, it doesn't matter. The more followers you get, the more pressure it is. Well, how many likes did I get? How many comments did I get? I have a new rule. It's not about that. I don't look at the comments. I don't look at the likes. I read the comments because was I able to help one person? And that's my goal. Can you help one person? If I helped one person, then my job is done. So please, start looking at social media differently. If you can just reach out and help one person, then that post is successful. And it does not matter how many likes you have. It does not matter how many comments you have. So that's my new rule on social media too. Okay, Chris, I know. It's like, who do we go to? All right, which is your name?
Grace.
Grace. Nice to meet you. What's your question?
How passionate were you about Star Wars before you got part of Ahsoka Tano?
Oh, that is a great question because I thought I was a big Star Wars fan until somebody asked me the cell number of Princess Leia's cell on the Death Star, and I was like, oh, I don't know that. But no, there's no levels of Star Wars fan. To me, if you call yourself a Star Wars fan, you are a Star Wars fan. There was a lot I didn't know. I like to say that I went to the school of Dave Filoni. That was the original Skywalker Academy. One of the coolest parts about each episode was prior to recording the episode, we would have at least a 30-minute talk from Dave where he broke down the entire episode. So he told us the lesson of the episode, the moral story of the episode, the background of the episode, everything that we needed to know to record our lines for that episode. And we got to ask questions. So it really was a deep dive into Star Wars prior to the recording of each episode. And it's really a bummer because we never recorded those moments. And those were some of my favorite moments. So now I would definitely call myself a much bigger fan. And I also recently got a refresh. So for this book that I wrote, I had to watch like all of Star Wars. And I just fell in love with Star Wars all over again. So I've learned a lot more now, but I would say more of a casual fan when I started, but I've been a fan ever since I was a little girl. So I just love Star Wars. It guides everything I do. All right. Who else? Who do we got here? Oh, tell us your name.
Oh, that's a funny story because it's also Ashley.
I know. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. This is more of a deep question since it's Women's History Month. What advice would you give young women who are going through hardships, especially with finding themselves and trying to find themselves in the world, especially when it comes to careers and people gatekeeping, I guess is the best way to put it, with just everything in life?
That is a wonderful question, and thank you for asking that today, especially as we celebrate Women's History Month. Well, I briefly said this at the beginning, but I want to start out by saying it's never too late to start a new dream or to start a new path. I'm going to be dreaming until the day I die. I still, whenever I go out at night and I look up in the night sky, I make a wish upon a star. I constantly have new wishes and new dreams and start new paths. So I know a lot of people, they feel like, I'm already going down this path. I've made my decision, it's too late for me. It's never too late. Now, whether you start a new path as a career, or maybe you started as a hobby, some people, especially, I'll just say an example. Some people tell me a lot, they're like, well, I wanted to be an actor, or, as a kid, but I chose a different path, and I have now a full-time job, and I tell them, I'm like, well, you can still act. Go try out for a play. You can do that at night and then still do your full-time job during the day. You don't have to do just one thing. I feel like society, they like to put us in a box and they like to tell you to pick one thing. That's what happened to me. Growing up here, I did lots of things. As a kid, I was a fashion designer. I was an actress. I played sports. I did a ton of things. Then I went to high school. And I was told to pick one thing. And I believed him. So I did. And I didn't regret it because I loved acting. So I happily picked it and I focused on it. But then one day, my world came crashing down around me. I didn't start Her Universe because of Happy Times. I haven't even dove into that story yet. I started Her Universe when literally my entire world came crashing down around me. I was a full-time actress in LA, and my wonderful husband is up here, and he used to play baseball. Yes, he deserves a round of applause. Because, trust me, none of this would be possible without this man by my side. Truly, he supported me from day one and still supports me today and keeps my head on straight, especially times when I want to walk away and just give everything up. he keeps me going. So, but my husband used to play baseball, and he signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, he had a bunch of injuries, and I needed to be there with him in Toronto and go with him on all of his doctor's appointments. And I wanted to. I didn't need to. I wanted to. But that meant that I wasn't in LA. And back then, this was pre-Zoom and pre-now everything virtual. You had to be in LA, otherwise they didn't consider you for anything. So I had a pretty successful career at that point. And I told my agents and managers that I was moving to Toronto. I couldn't get a work visa to work as an actress in Toronto. And so one day I got a call from my manager, and she said, Ashley, if you're not in LA, you're not auditioning. If you're not auditioning, you're not making us money. And if you're not making us money, you're no good to us. And just like that, all of my agents and managers dropped me, and everything was gone. Except Star Wars. I will say Clone Wars was not out yet, so I didn't know if Ahsoka would be successful or Clone Wars would be successful. But it's pretty devastating as an actress to have your entire team just drop you and say you're no good to them. So I took a day, actually 2 days, where I sat on the couch and I was devastated. I mean, I bawled my eyes out. I felt like my dreams had been ripped away. I felt like without acting, who am I? Like, I literally had that identity crisis because I said, I did everything right. I did everything you told me to. I picked one thing. I gave it my all. I worked hard. And then just like that, they ripped it away. So I took, like I said, 2 days. I had a pity party. But then I woke up and I said, okay, I can't focus anymore on what I can't do. I have to focus on what I can do. And so I had a laptop and I had a cell phone, and I was still the voice of Ahsoka Tano. Again, it wasn't out yet, but I knew that eventually it was coming out, and I knew eventually I would be in this thing called Star Wars. So I got the idea that I could start a business from a laptop and a cell phone on my couch. And I went to my husband, and I had the idea to start Her Universe. And he said, he's like, I fully support you. He said, but you need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Now, don't think that he was telling me a diss. He was actually giving me the wisest information he could have given me, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know how to get a license from Lucasfilm. I didn't know how to design clothes. So I found a team. I built a team. I asked lots of questions, and I surrounded myself with people who could help me do it. And so it took a long time. It took 2 years. It wasn't quick. And it took many failed attempts. But eventually Her Universe was born in June of 2010. So I would encourage any of you, if you're starting a new path, ask yourself the question, what can I do? I think our brains are programmed to tell us what we can't do. Now, our minds are sometimes our worst enemy. Our minds like to tell us all of our fears, all of our deepest and darkest worries and thoughts, and they're going to tell you all of the things you can't do. But you have to trick your brain and ask yourself daily, what can I do? And if you constantly focus on the cans instead of the can'ts, you will be able to forge a new path. And you will be able to do something new. Finally, and I know I'm rambling a lot, but this is a lesson that became really important to me. I'll share with you one of the lessons in the book. I once said I would never write a book. So the fact that that book exists and the one coming out in October exists proves that anything's possible, because I truly believed I couldn't, and I was okay with that. So, but when the opportunity presented itself, I said yes without thinking about it. I said, sure I can. And then I panicked. I literally panicked, and I waited until the very, very last minute to start writing. And that was because I was scared. I believed I couldn't do it. So the manuscript for the book was due on January 3rd. I didn't start writing until December 8th. I had an entire book to write. And I had a bad attitude about it. I really did. I went in, I had a room that I designated as my writing room, and I went in and I literally was like beating myself up. I'm like, Ashley, gosh, why did you do this? You're not capable of doing this. You got yourself in over your head. I really had a hard time, and I struggled for, a couple days, and I got some out on paper, but it wasn't great. Finally, I got to an exercise called the Cave Challenge. Does anyone know the scene on Dagobah where Luke has to go into the cave? And he says to Yoda, he says, what's in there? And Yoda says, only what you take with you. And he puts on his tool belt, and Yoda says, your weapons, you will not need them. And he says that because the cave is a metaphor for your own mind. And so literally Luke was walking into his own mind. And Luke failed that challenge. He failed. For little David over there, he fell down. He failed because he walked in with fear and aggression and anger, and he used his weapons for attack. He attacked his fear, and he failed the cave challenge. So I watched that scene, and I still had a bad attitude, and I walked out and I had lunch, and I was telling my husband about this scene, and then it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm failing my own cave challenge. That writing room was my cave, and I was walking in with fear and anger and aggression with myself, and it wasn't going well. I was failing. I wasn't writing the book well at all. I said to my husband, I said, I have to take Yoda's advice. I have to walk in with peace and calm and be passive and be hopeful and be positive. And so I did. I said, okay, I'm going to walk in with a positive attitude, and I'm not going to worry about the end of the book. I'm going to write one paragraph at a time. And that's what I did for the rest of the book. And guess what? I finished by January 3rd because I changed my attitude. So it'll be in the book. It's called the Cave Challenge. Whatever you're facing that day, whether it be a test, whether it be an interview, whether it be a big meeting, whether it be a tryout, that's what's in your cave for that day. Ask yourself, what are you going to bring into your cave? Only what you take with you. If you bring in fear and anger and aggression, well then that's what's going to be with you throughout your day and in your cave. But if you bring in peace and calm and you're passive and you're hopeful, that's what you're going to use to attack what's in your cave. And I promise you, it makes all the difference in the world. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So I know we want, so I have to sincerely apologize to everyone. I have to leave as soon as this is over. My sister and my nieces are visiting from Tulsa. It's their last day, and they are currently at Magic Kingdom, and I have a 4-year-old niece that is anxiously awaiting her Aunt Ashley to come ride It's a Small World with her, and we only have until 5 o'clock. So if you go to Magic Kingdom and you see me, come say hi. I will be there, but that's the reason I can't stay. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a giant group photo. So how are we going to do this? Okay, we have a photographer. Is it Courtney? So thank Courtney. Courtney's going to get a giant group photo, and then she's going to give it to me, and I'm going to post it.
All right, you guys, you're going to be in this group photo.
Account, and then you can all, take a screenshot and have the photo from there. So we might have to put everyone in, maybe, or you think we can? So if you can, if you're able, if you're on the side, maybe just scoot over into the aisle, and then I'm gonna. Should I sit on the ground? Oh, okay. Maybe sit like. I don't want to block anyone.
Oh, we've got a good spot for this. We should probably sit. Don't forget your chocolate pop that's melted.
I'm gonna sit. Okay. Okay, let me know. Chris, do we have everyone in place? Okay, so let's do a couple where we smile, and then we're gonna do one where we all yell Ahsoka lives. So the first couple, we're just gonna smile. Okay, one more I lied. Now we're going to use the Force. So everyone put your hand out and use the Force. Okay, now for this one, on the count of 3, I want everyone to say, literally as loud as you possibly can, Ahsoka lives. Actually, no. I want you to say Ahsoka lives in all of us. Yes, okay, Ahsoka lives in all of us on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ahsoka lives in all of us! Yay!
That's gotta be the largest
Okay,
group
now I
photo
think
I've ever
Chris-
taken.
Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping on the distribution of the books. And I know Chocolatier Katie and Chef Amanda, they were so kind to give some chocolate pops to everyone as they walked in. If you didn't get a chocolate pop, they're in the Ganachery through the end of March, all month. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. The Force is strong with all of you. Thank you for coming today. And may the Force be with you. And thank you, Darcy.
I want to thank Ashley. I know all of you do too. One last round of applause for Ashley. And then one more thing I'm going to say. I love that you put it all out into the universe. You put it out into the galaxy. You just shared one of your new bucket list items is to go on an amphicar. I talked to my good friend